Back in the world of YouTube.
So
Second
Ashley,
episode.
yes, the second episode. I want you today to introduce us because I just don't
Wow.
expect that each and every person in the whole entire internet knows us already.
Listen, I think, this is what the broker survival kit. This is our weekly YouTube get together where we talk about all things real estate, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is with myself, Ashley. Obviously, I'm the real estate COO, and I've got Ms. Olga Sinenko from the Live It Up University. Yes, sales
I
trainer
for
in
some
Dubai.
reason I give it such a long name, Real Estate Growth Academy, and I'm just like,
Yes,
is this a good name? I'm not sure. I think it's better to call it like educational platform, just to like
I just like Live
calm
It Up.
down yourself a bit from academy. I'm not sure.
No, just live it up. I like the Live It Up University because we're living it up. I think it just has a good ring to it.
Yeah. Okay,
But
guys.
listen,
So
hopefully
today's topic,
we got some
kind of.
guests back, and we're going to be obviously discussing some bits and bobs today. What are we going to be discussing today in this episode, Olga?
So we still do have some questions from the previous live that haven't been answered. And then my offer was, why wouldn't we talk about not as pleasant, not as nice, not as sweet and soft and comfortable? The
Ooh,
topics, why brokers, and maybe that's going to be you,
yeah,
or maybe you are now in that position. Why do brokers leave the company or leave the industry altogether? So what might be your roadblock, and how to potentially either predict that that's going to be a roadblock and kind of not put yourself in that situation where you're working with this company, or overcome it and get stronger on the other side.
I feel that there's so many brokers that enter into the market every single month. Hundreds and hundreds of people that are pretty much either in Dubai and moving into real estate, or they're moving from their home countries and getting into the industry from start. I know that when I moved to Dubai and I was, thinking about getting into real estate and I was contacted by a company, I was kind of sold a dream. I was kind of, and I had my rose tinted glasses on and I thought it's gonna be roses and picnics and really easy. And the way she made it sound was, I'm gonna make lots of money in the first year and I'm gonna change my life. And I thought, oh, great, it sounds too good to be true. And when I actually got to this company, yes, it's a great company. It wasn't quite what it was cracked up to be in terms of the support and the training and just the guidance and ongoing kind of support from my colleagues and from my manager. So that kind of made me feel a bit uneasy about the whole situation and lose a bit of trust in the company. And, that's why I ended up moving on. So I feel like there's a lot of people like this.
So when you're saying not enough support, because I feel from my perspective, when I am the one who is training the new agent, and you want to empower them with literally as much as you can, but what you can do within like the first week or even 10 days or even 2 weeks, that has to be learning by doing anyway. And if that is not happening, then you're not going to be able to go forward. So if you remember that, of course, like what was the support? What
there wasn't much. I feel like, I was pretty much given my area. I had 1.5 day worth of training. And bear in mind, yes, I've been in the UK and I did real estate for 10 years. So I knew the real estate market and the way the UK market works and the processes back to front, inside out. When I got to Dubai, it's almost like I had to reset my button because everything was so new and foreign. But I wasn't really taught the basics of the job and what I needed to do. So I kind of had to figure it out and had to ask my colleagues and just listen to what was going on around the room. When I would ask my at the time manager for advice, it was more like, talking about what's happening at the weekend, what brunch did you go to? And it's more that kind of talk. And I didn't really get what I needed from this person. And, as we know, in real estate, it could be the difference of you making it or not making it. Yes, you've got a responsibility for yourself, and you've also got to take responsibility and make things happen for yourself. And I'm that sort of person. If I'm not getting what I need from somebody, I will find out myself. I will make it happen. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. But also, I do want to feel supported and guided and know that somebody has got my back in every situation, should I need it. So it's a bit of a mix of that.
Well, about my experience being a broker, because I started as an agent, back to the agent shoes, in January 2015. I think I found out that there is some sort of service fees on the month too. I already got my first rent at that point. There were no training at all altogether. It was not existent. I got friends with people around me, and I understood quickly. The only thing that I got from my RERA course, which they sent us, unfortunately, guys, back in, you have to go to land department. I was in a metro land department. Then I was trying to find the land department. God knows, the Google Maps were not like a thing that you can just go and just Google yourself. Over there, over the 3 days of training, I've got one thing. Find yourself someone who is more experienced than you, and do whatever it takes to make him help you somehow. Offer him whatever admin services, fill up his listings, call to his leads, follow up on whatever he wants. And that's what I did. And that's how I basically survived. The only thing I'm thankful for, at that time, he was not a manager, actually. He was the owner of the company.
Yeah.
He forced us, and I hated it at that time. My area was Marina. He forced us to learn, to print out all of the layouts of all of the buildings in your area and to learn them as if he's going to be doing an exam. So that forced me to go out of the street, to get the map, to get the printouts of the building, to look at the building, to understand where is this windows, where is okay, that's a floor plan. Thanks God, because of this, I hated it, but then I became someone who knows where 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, facing Marina, facing the sea. I knew the building. So even anyone going to ask me, I want this, or I have clients with this preferences, I knew what to show.
Correct. So, and I think, this is definitely a good kind of way in, because although you were forced to do it, and at the time you're thinking, what the hell am I doing this for? In the end, you actually found it really beneficial and became a specialist because you knew all the types of the buildings that you were covering. So then you become useful to your clients because you're adding that value, and then they're going to be trusting in you because you know what you're talking about, as opposed to not knowing anything, not taking the time to actually learn your craft, which unfortunately I feel most brokers, they don't take the time to learn. They do expect a lot of it to be given to them, but they don't actually want to go out and learn themselves, if that makes sense. So I feel like, yes, the company should always provide training and guidance and support, but also you should want to better yourself as well.
The question which we haven't answered from the previous Tuesday.
We had quite a few questions, didn't we? How do you feel it went, by the way? It was our first one. So how do you feel it went? I had some really good feedback.
Which one you want to answer?
No, I'm saying last week I had some really good feedback from our first episode. How do you feel it went?
Honestly, we were surprised ourselves that it went so well. Okay, so Jerry adds actually a question from my Instagram.
Yeah.
Are top performers willing to guide new players? What do you think? When you were a top performer, were you willing to guide new players?
So existing brokers, is that?
Yeah. I mean, not just brokers, someone who is already doing good.
I think it depends on the company, the team, and the culture. I mean, I know in the company I work, the brokers are super helpful. I've got a couple of senior brokers, and you can hear them, explaining and telling and helping and guiding the newer brokers. So I feel like it depends on the company and the culture that they have, but it is hit and miss. I'm lucky in the fact that I've got a great team and they do help each other out, and I've worked for some good companies, and the senior brokers, it's the culture that we've always instilled in our brokers, so they would always help out. I have had brokers come from different companies where they've said they've moved because brokers and people don't help them, and it's quite guarded and quite closed off. So they feel like although they're working for the same company, it's kind of like they're all working for separate companies. And that's not the kind of culture that I would want to work for. So I don't blame these brokers for wanting to move to find better places. So the answer to that question is in most cases, yes, but it does depend on the company that you choose to work for.
I had a good conversation. I recorded the interview with my top performer in my coaching from, I would say, last year and this year, actually. Ekaterina, she made altogether with 1 year coaching with me, 1,650,000 dirhams in her own commission. So she told me the story. Before she found me, she was working already in the industry for 2 years. That she was not happy with the results that she was making. It was like so much money she's spending for commuting and other stuff, and like, was not even covering that. So she was sitting. She never knew coaching exists in real estate. Like, oh, I can hire myself a coach. I never thought about that. So she was sitting, and like the idea that came to her is like, I will message all of the stockbrokers, at least as someone who appear to be closing the deals on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and I will offer them like to be their admin, to do like whatever they share my commission.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, interesting. She never told me so. And I was like, how many have you messaged? And she's like, 5. And I was like, any response? She's like, no one responded.
No, I bet no one responded.
No one responded. Yeah. So
that's interesting. I feel like definitely. I feel like if you are an outsider or you're not working for the company, I don't reckon brokers, because I feel like everyone's so guarded as well, because they're like, what is your motive? What are you trying to get from me? What are you trying to take from me? So that's probably why these brokers didn't maybe reply, because they're thinking, what are you trying to get? Which is a shame, because people are wanting to, learn from these people. But because of the industry that we're in, and, there's a lot of bad stories versus good stories, a lot of people are guarded and they're quite closed off.
So do you want to read the question of Mohammed?
Mohammed, hello. Great experience. Thank you. That's good. So I have a question. What if the company not paying my commission? What to do? Okay, that's a very...
I do have a full answer on that.
Yes, but I said, do you maybe want to start with this answer?
So should I jump in?
I
had an experience with the same coaching client, by the way. Her company decided not to pay her 600,000. So the money being received by the company already and spent on other stuff. What you have to do as an agent to, first of all, secure yourself, to even being able to apply to Labor Department, to Mahor, to raise the case and kind of get it. You have, first of all, to make sure that you have your RERA card, you have a visa with this company, so all your documentation is clear. Second of all, you have to always collect all of the paperwork from your deals, regardless of whatever it is, off plan or secondary. You have to collect all the paperwork. You should have all of the evidences. If there is an off plan,
because that's really important right now as well.
Yeah. So if it's an off-plan deal and you are just an agent, developer whom you've been working with, the developer agent can give you the copies of the documents and can confirm. I was looking for the lawyers for the case of my client. So on average, there is a processing fee, of course, to open the case. On average, lawyers will take 5% of the commission. However, what I heard from others who've been fighting for commission as well, that usually it's always going to be decided towards the broker. And any disputes right now which are going in real estate, the Labor Department, most of the time, if you have all of the evidence base ready, will decide towards their not the company, not the employee, but the employee.
Yes, correct.
And I think, again, this is what I had a conversation with the lawyers as well. They're saying because of a just tremendous amount of valuation and kind of wrongness happening in the industry. So the Labor Department is really pushing through. We're just going to make sure that we're going to not allow that to keep happening.
Correct.
Because that's a bad reputation for the whole industry and for people who are coming from outside and just trying to make money.
You've answered that really well. I think it's I feel like there's a lot of it going on right now. I hear horror stories all the time when I speak to brokers, and even brokers that have come to join me from different companies that have not paid them and they're waiting for money. It happens a lot. But what you've just said there in terms of making sure you have all your ducks in a row, especially with the paperwork and the documentation, that is the most important thing, because without that, you've got nothing. So my advice would be make sure that you do have a compliant file, like Olga's saying, before you do anything, because it's super important. Because if you have all that, like Olga's saying, they're probably going to be in favor of you.
And I see that as an asset that you then going to carry on if you will need to a new employee, where you can negotiate a higher commission with a new company because you have a proof of you've been closing the deal. And if you have a proof that you've been closing those deals and this is the amounts, they will more likely allow you to have a higher split.
Correct.
Rather than you just, beating yourself in the chest and say, oh, I'm just a closer. No, you show me what you can do.
Correct. Good one, that one. Hope that helped, Mohammed. I've got a question here.
Yeah.
This was from Martin, came from my Instagram. And he said, what are some common mistakes new brokers make and how can they avoid them?
What do you think?
I think with this one, it's a good question, because I feel that new brokers, they overcomplicate the job at the beginning. I think the rules of the game are so simple. And I always say this, I think the rules of the game are so simple. Once you finish your training and you're on the sales floor, keep it super simple. You've got to build your shop. You've got to build your branch within your community. So what do you start with? You start with listings, right? So you're going to start to get the listings. What do we need to do? We need to make the phone calls. So keep it super simple at the beginning. Focus on the phone calls. Practice master your craft when it comes to speaking to these landlords and these sellers. Make sure your pitches.
That's a difficult part, right? Oh, I have to talk to strangers?
Correct. But start with this. Keep it super simple. Start with the phone calls. Once you get good at the phone calls, the listings will happen. Once the listings happen, the leads, viewings, offers, deals, money. Okay, it goes in the line. So I feel like that brokers try and do so many different things at the beginning. They're trying to grab things here, try and grab things there.
But they just calling, right?
Exactly. Everything but what they need to be doing to build their brand and build their business. So that's pretty much a common mistake most new brokers make. They try and just do everything else but focus on the non-negotiables and the basics of the job to get themselves truly set up. That's one thing. I also think when it comes to secondary brokers, they don't focus on building their CRM enough. So at the beginning, when they are making their phone calls, they should be thinking about scaling their business. And what I mean by that is when they're calling their data sheets and they're speaking to these owners, if their property is not available now, but it's available next year, they should be adding that to their CRM system. So they're then scaling their business, they're ring fencing the data for their community. And then
I'm going to stop you from that. One of the main reasons probably not doing that, rather than, I'm just lazy, is because they think that they don't want to share something that they found, pretendedly, etc.
But then that's going to come back and bite them, because then if I'm doing that, let's say I'm calling and I'm not adding it to my CRM system, and I've been talking to this guy on WhatsApp for the last 4 months, but then you call them and then you have a conversation and put it on your CRM system, that's your listing. So it doesn't matter all the phone calls and WhatsApps I've been making, it's irrelevant, because what the manager and what the company's going to go on is what's on the system. So brokers have this mentality, but they're actually messing themselves up, and they're not building and scaling their business. So when they do come into the office in 6 months' time, they should have a whole heap of reminders and follow-ups from people potentially with properties. If they're not adding to their CRM system, they're not growing.
I would say that, from what I see, that's very valuable you're saying this, and it definitely very, very simple. It comes down to how many conversation with strangers about real estate you had on a daily basis. There is no need to do anything else.
Correct.
Additionally, what I see is that whenever they feel like, for example, you start working with a company which is mainly focusing on off-plan, right? And then you see that your friend somewhere, another company, just closed a rental deal.
Yes.
Oh. and you spoke to a like random stranger in the elevator, you told him that you're in real estate. He's like, oh, I'm actually looking to rent a new apartment. I'm kind of bringing the exact case that a couple of days back was talking with an agent. So he's coming to me asking, Olga, should I sign the A2A agreement with an agent? And he's a newbie, I just trained him. And I was just like, you're doing rentals now. For what for? Oh yeah, that's a rental. I'm going to show you. Okay, so you have a client, you have a tenant. He's like, yes. And I was like, what's the property is? I was thinking, I don't know, if it's 300,000 yearly rent, what to do? It's fine. Oh, it's just a studio in Marina. He's like, but you found the broker from the property fund. He's like, yeah. I was like, and who agreed to share the commission with you? Because it's just a minimum commission, and someone is so desperate, the same as from the property fund. Usually the broker is going to say, no, I do not deal with agent on rental deal of something which is, let's say, below 100,000. How much it will be. And then he goes into all of the explanation. Who is this person? I was like, okay, answer me a couple of questions. Has this person seen anything yet? Oh, I don't know. For how long have you been looking? Oh, I don't know. Okay, why does he need to move? Why not to stay where he is?
Don't know.
Oh, it's a sharing accommodation. She wants to move. I was like, okay, so why you haven't moved before? What stopped him? I don't know. And I was like, you don't know anything about the client. Okay, sure. Tell me which listing you're going to show him. I have these 2 studios in the same building. I know the building, it's Live Marina. Haven't been in the studios, but I know that I was on a launch of that building in 2018. So the building is new. So I assume that's going to be way better than, and there is not much studios in Marina, as per my old memory being an agent in Marina. And it's like, okay, so what are you going to show him? Just these 2 studios? He's like, yes. And I was like, so you don't know what he's seen. You're going to show him these 2 studios. And correct me actually if I'm wrong, because that's just my common sense. I don't know if it's an agent common sense in me or it's just a common sense. Like this person haven't seen anything, let's imagine, right? You're going to show him more or less exactly the same 2 units, which might be one of the best, but he doesn't know that because he haven't seen anything. What you have to do now, you have to go and find a shitty unit for him to have a reference point. Because he's not going to be able to understand, well, is it good, is it bad? I just seen 2. Who's going to select based on 2 units? He's like, okay. Yeah, but I don't have time to do that because it's just going to be in 4 hours. And I was like, do you understand that you've done all of this work? And just because you've done it wrong, you're going to waste your time. You're going to bring the client. You're going to show him these 2 units. He's not going to make a decision.
Correct.
So that's wrong. Without this small piece, that's all wrong.
It's so true. And I think it's definitely another pain point that I feel with brokers and even existing experienced brokers. And the key thing is here, it's qualification, right? I hear so many times when brokers will get phone calls and literally the phone call is like, yeah, hi, it's available. Yeah, I can be there at 2:00. I'll see you there in the lobby. Yeah, okay, bye. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to wait until they get back and see how it goes. And, you go and see, how the viewings go? Oh, they didn't like it. Oh, why didn't they like it? Oh, because the unit I had was a row facing view. It was a low floor and they want a high floor. They want a marina view or whatever it's going to be. I'm like, okay, so did we ask those questions? Did we find out what they've seen? Did we find out what they don't want? Did we actually qualify the client before going out? In most cases, it's no. And even in my team meetings, and my brokers will tell you this, I always ask questions because I want to understand how much they've qualified the client. So I'll always ask, why are they viewing this property? What have they seen? Why are they looking to move? Why do they need 2 beds? There's only 2. Like all these sorts of questions I will always ask because I'm not trying to catch them out. I'm just trying to understand or get them to understand that actually I haven't qualified this person enough, and that's probably why I haven't closed a deal or I haven't closed them down to a deal. So it's super important. And I think that's definitely a huge mistake that new brokers and existing brokers make. Don't qualify.
And you're completely right on that. And I feel like we have to invent a new word because word qualification doesn't actually reflect what we are talking about.
Yeah.
It's even up to the T, I want to say investigation, to investigate the client, but it has a negative stigma, which no one wants to do that. Because qualification for many brokers is going to be, oh, do you want to buy? Oh, you want to make some money? Oh, you want a high ROI? Oh, you want for your family? Or you investing? Or you want to personal use? Oh, yeah, I've done qualification. That's not, man. You know nothing about this client.
It's so
And
true. Fact finding. Should we call it fact finding or something like this? You're fact
which you
finding.
don't even know what is underneath. Like, he gave you some answers. I do remember myself being a broker and being a sales manager after. I was always, when I got the listing and the agent is calling me, I'm going to qualify him, ask him the same exact questions as
Same.
I'm asking the client.
I
And
always
he
say,
doesn't know the answers. I'm going to tell
then
him,
look
okay,
what you're doing.
fantastic. How about you're going to go back to your client? I will explain, I will coach you, because I don't want to waste my time on wasting client time and his time. And he's
Correct.
like, oh, okay, thank you. I always got a positive response. I always run to that client, then get back to me. And I was like, okay, then you're going to do this and this and this. Have you showed him any? And then I can control the deal. And I know that this broker is actually going to be able to close because he's listening to me. Okay, we have a questions. What's the best way to build an inventory starting from zero in Dubai market? I would assume that this is a question about the secondary
market.
market.
Best way to build an inventory, start from zero in the Dubai market. Again, if you're going to be focusing on a community or an area, first of all, what you want to be doing is finding or doing your market research on that community or area, finding out, let's say it's the springs, for example, making sure you understand all the different 5 types in the springs, what 4E is, what the size is, making sure you understand all the different communities, which ones have pools, which ones don't. So you have your full market knowledge, okay? Once you've done that, maybe you want to check on something like Property Monitor to find out which communities are transacting the most out of the communities that you're focusing on, which one's the most popular.
I'm going to stop you a little bit, Ashley, because Property Monitor, not everyone knows what it is. This.
Yeah, exactly. So Property Monitor is a portal where most companies should have access to this, and they should pay for the subscription. I did a video on this one on my YouTube.
Yeah,
and
so we're gonna go and check. We're gonna link it into the description.
We'll link it, and it's basically a portal where you can go and check all the recent transactions for your community or your area, or even Dubai. And you can do month transactions. You can do year on year. You can check to see what's hot, what's not. It's just a good place to go to really understand your market. So what you should always be doing, hopefully if your company has it, is going on to Property Monitor and checking out what is happening in your community, where to focus your time and energy. Once you have that, then I would definitely then be making phone calls for those specific communities and then trying to build some prospects and some listings for that community. And hopefully from there, you'll start to see some results coming through. The stats don't normally lie.
Yeah, so now we're going to go to the nitty-gritty on how to get these listings. Usually company will provide you with actually called the data sheets. But let's be honest, this is not very legally acquired data. So these owners never volunteered to be on that list. So this data being, handed over in a various ways. So potentially we think that this data is still accurate because of transaction speed in Dubai real estate. So it's usually going to have a lot of details, which half of them we don't know even what it is, some different numbers.
Correct.
And stuff like this, but you will have an email, phone number, and full name of the owner as well. And
the address of the unit, and normally the size of the unit as well, so you can check to see what type it is based on the size that is on there.
It's going to be 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom.
Correct.
Then you don't still know that if this owner is still owning the property, if he's even thinking of buying selling the unit, if he's living there himself or it's tenanted, you don't know. So there is a couple of ways to find out. One of them, which is easy and everyone is doing that, is start sending the WhatsApp messages, spamming, which is going to probably result in your WhatsApp being blocked. Unblocked every week. Or you can use the bots, which allow you, we're not going to dig too deep into that because it's as well kind of a bit of, gray area. There are bots in Telegram which will allow you, actually expand on that, please.
So we're talking about the URL one, yeah?
Yeah, the one you put the...
Yes, so this is for basically for low-hanging fruit. So let's say you you're looking for a specific type of property for your client, for your tenant, or for your buyer. You can go
Or
on
even
property.
if you don't have any client or tenant, but you just
anything,
want to make sure
listings.
that whomever you're calling is actually in the market for selling or renting his property.
Correct. So I always call this low-hanging fruit, because we know these
Yeah.
properties are available. It's something quick to get you started. So what you can do is go in Property Finder, go obviously through your community, any listings that are good prices or something that is of interest to you or your clients. Copy the URL number or the URL address, pop this into this Telegram bot, and it will come back to you with the property address. So then hopefully you can go to your sheets that are provided by your company or your CRM system, and you can cross-reference the address with the address that you've got from the URL, and hopefully the owner's details is there, so you can proceed to call him because you know the property potentially is available.
Yeah. However, surprise, surprise, you will still have to call him. And I
Correct.
do recently release a brand new cold calling training on psychology behind the call, including, what to say, how to say it, all the patterns interrupt, how to prepare yourself for the call, how to get yourself through that resistance of the first seconds. Probably we're going to link it to this live as well. However, your success in the beginning and your ability to communicate, and again, I'm going to repeat myself, I do have a script. I do provide the script on the cold call where you're not going to be sounding like 99 or maybe even more people are using my script now. Let's say 95% of other agents, you have a chance for the person to engage with you, but then still, it's about how many dials.
Correct.
You're going to be doing.
Correct.
And if you're going.
And what would you say? What would you say is a good number per day as a new broker to be kind of making minimum?
I talk a lot about this with the new starters. In my understanding, the way I was doing it, and my last, I would not say it's completely cold call. It will be more or less me cleaning the leads after my team. I was allocating myself for 45-minute splits. I had a timer on my laptop. I had everything prepared, print out, where I'm going to be handwriting the notes. I was not putting anything into a CRM system. If I had a lead potential listing, I will just write it down, agree the conversation, and I'm dial the next one. With this number, with this schedule, when I'm 45 seconds in, I am getting painfully upset with someone shouted at me. Then I look at the timer on my screen. I have 10 minutes left. I'm going to push through.
Yeah.
So in this way, you can easily hit up to 100 dials an hour. Taking in consideration, on average, I had like 5 conversations.
Correct. I agree with that.
200 dials is a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's for me, it was not negotiable. Because I know agents in the beginning of their career for 6 months, the first 6 months, they were doing 300, 400 dials, and they became extremely successful right after. Mm-hmm. So I see it as the same as playing golf. Honestly, I don't know why. I played golf once in the simulator. But I believe it's very simple. You're just picking up the phone. You're just doing the swing.
Just swinging it.
Yeah. It's just about the quantity of the swings that you've done in your life. That's it.
I always say it's about the output. You've got to have maximum output because, it's a numbers game. It really is. It's a numbers game. And the more you do, obviously, the more opportunities potentially you're going to get. If you're not calling many people a day, you're going to be very limited in the time of the number of opportunities that you're going to be able to get as a new broker. And what else are you doing? Like, what else is going on in your life? Exact chats, coffee, cigarettes. Vapes now, isn't it? But I'm thinking that what else is going on in your life? Just make the calls. Avoidance. But then I guess that comes from lack of confidence and lack of knowledge. And that's what I think it is.
But, again, Ashley, the confidence and knowledge are coming through you doing the thing.
Doing it, exactly.
When you become confident, how?
Correct. I always say that.
I'm deciding I'm not going to drive the car till the time I'm going to be really comfortable
Really
that I
ready.
can. You're not driving, man. Okay, let's go back to the
I like
questions.
this my luxury specialist. I call it qualification identity mapping for the
Interesting.
qualification. I like that.
Interesting. And I'm not a big fan of saying a different type of personalities. Is this one dominant, formal? This is submissive and formal. There is a lot of non-sales
Tough.
techniques talking about the fluff. I just really do not believe that anyone, specifically on the call, being in a state of fear, will be able to understand anything about the other person. And even in conversation, I've been taught these techniques when I was 22, which
Yeah.
was on my first sales training. I felt like, my God, I just like, this is what it is. And then I
Yeah.
tried it on my sales, and I was just like, I'm so sorry. When I'm in negotiation and there's two people talking to me, I have no time. What do you mean? I'm going to look at the gestures, the way the words that they use. Are they more audio or visual? Forget about that. I cannot do it.
Oh my God, love that. Do you want to answer this one? So give us an example of qualification questions for off-plan investors. I know you've been heavily focusing on this with your guys, right?
Yeah.
So give us some examples.
Let's imagine that you're calling to an age lead, because this is age lead, old lead, recycle lead, leads from your CRM. I mean, someone who inquired years ago, maybe a month, but God knows what happened to him. So he is still in recycle, and this is the first lead. If you are starting as an off-plan broker, walking into any company, unless you have all documentation that you've been closing millions, this is what you will get. They're never going to give you a fresh leads. And to be honest, Ashley, if you were in the position of the owner of the company, which you almost are in a position, would you give a fresh leads to someone you don't know?
No.
The leads that you paid.
Call for that, rinse through that, the recycled ones, practice your pitch, perfect your pitch. And then once you've proved yourself and you booked a couple of meetings from these ones, and I can see the work in the CRM system, then we'll give you the good stuff. So here's your fishing line.
So for those type of leads, my favorite script, and I do share that as well, it's definitely in some of my videos, you need to, those are kind of usually completely cold. So you need to find like kind of a hook just to pull them back. So that's going to be a simple question. My scripts always start with, hi, name, hi, Ashley. So it's again a normal response of the person. Yes, who is this? But this is exactly what you wanted. Don't get scared. It's just Olga. It seems like some time ago you inquired about potentially looking into investment properties in Dubai. I'm just doing some updates in my system. So you pretended as if you are customer service. You're not a salesperson. So I'm just doing some updates in my system, and I called to see, have you found what you're looking for, or you are still looking? Exactly with this speed. Have you found what you're looking for, or you are still looking? Honestly, I can be boring like this. Right? Because you have to sound conversational, and this is when he's gonna give you a signal. Oh, I'm still looking, or I'm found. If he found, then it's potential whom? It's your seller, right, Ashley? It's your seller at some point, because 90% of buyers who are buying off plan, they will be selling it.
Correct.
Yeah, so get the information, put him in there. If it's a fresh lead, my favorite question, the starting point is like, hi, name, exactly the same as like, seems like you responded to one of the ads and asked us to call you back, possibly looking for help with investing in Dubai real estate. And he's like, oh yes, that's me. Yeah, when you saw the ad, like besides the shiny computer graphics, what was about the ad that kind of attracted you to respond? So with this question, you're asking them what triggered the attention, because they're usually going to talk about what is important for them. And they're going to talk, oh, it's been written this one, or I actually wanted this one. And if he doesn't remember the ad, you just ask him, what was your yeah, I do understand there is so many ads, but what was your overall goal with, that interest or this investment? We were kind of trying to get out of that. And he gonna expand and tell you if he is an investor, if he is looking for himself, and you just sitting there, there's way more, much more questions. But the thing is that, sorry, I'm just going to take all of the time for this. In the beginning, you have to be really nicely conversational, very
Can I also
natural.
touch there as well? Because I feel like this is again what most people don't do. It's the conversation, right? It's the way you say things. It's the way you communicate with the buyer. Again, you're not robotic. You're having a conversation like we're having a conversation right now. And I feel like sometimes that's not the case. And because of that, the buyer feels like they are being sold to. So the guy goes right up, the guard goes up, because they're like, oh. So and again, it's just having to break down that wall. So by the way that you explained this and the way you kind of entered that phone call, you are having a conversation. Even down the way that your tone was, the way you said it, it's not the typical kind of, and you're going to think, why is this person asking me all these questions? Why do you want to know this information? Again, the doors close.
Yeah.
So I think it's super important.
That's funny that we have to actually re-language ourselves again to being able to talk normally to human beings. Yeah. I think that was like being in sales sometimes puts you in a position where you just cannot talk normal anymore. You just become robotic, and then you have to shake yourself.
Correct.
Okay, I think that's a good question for you to answer.
The next one, what characters make a great broker? Oof, love it. Do you know what? I feel there's many different walks of life when it comes to brokers. Some of my best brokers have been plumbers from the UK that have had no sales experience whatsoever. But what they do have is grit and determination. Okay, they don't take no for an answer. They're hustlers. They don't mind working 7 days a week, 365 for the first year. You know, they're the first ones on the phone. They're the ones walking around, and you know, it's just that energy and that kind of the hunger that these people possess. Maybe it's because of where they've come from. Maybe it's not been the best upbringing. I don't know, but something deep inside of them really wants them to succeed in this job. And because of that, that's what pushes them to succeed. And they don't stop. And you do find them in the office first in the morning and last to leave, working on the weekend, making the 100, 200 calls a day. They're doing all the things that they've been told to do. And that's why they get the success. They're not scared to wait. They just jump straight in. I love brokers like this. And when I do train and I get some of these characters in my class, it gives me energy because I can feel the energy from them. So I do feel you just gotta be a person that just wants to get stuck in and hustle. I love using that word, hustle. If you're a hustler and you've got something about you, you're gonna love this industry, because you can be whoever you want to be. And there's kind of no right, there's no wrong. You can really be the person that you want in this industry, and play a persona and play a character.
And I want to add on this, because those guys who are hustlers, those guys who want to succeed, they do have a combination with another character, which I believe I'm actually training it in myself for the past months, I would say. I don't want to say years, but maybe consciously for past months. Yeah. And we spoke about this actually a lot. And yes. I believe that this is a new thing which people are not yet talking a lot. It's being a hustler, being able to do all of this work without seeing the results, being able to tolerate the disappointment and the pain of not seeing the results, not being discouraged, not going, under your thoughts, not being, maybe it's not for me, it's just not going to work. You see that didn't happen this time, and you just keep going as if it did.
Learn from it and keep going. Have a knockback. You need a lot of knockback, and you get a lot of knockbacks in this job. You get knocked on the floor.
But you don't fall, and you just keep going.
And you keep going. You pick yourself up, you flip, and you carry on. And that's why I say grit and determination, because they have this, and I respect it. And when I see this in brokers, you got I'll match your energy. I'll give you what you need, because I can see that you really want it. you know, and I think we need more of that. And like you say, a lot of people, they give up too easily, or they do the bare minimum, not even the minimum standard, and they wonder why it's not happening. Why am I not closing deals? We look at the stats and like, you've actually done 1 day's work in a month. Of course you're not going to close a deal.
Yeah.
Okay, but then they leave real estate and they say, oh, real estate's shit because they've not made money. But actually it's because they didn't take it seriously enough to execute what they needed to do to make the money. They see selling sunset and they see, you know, the luxurious life that these brokers lead. And this is what they think to buy real estate is going to be. Yes, it can be like that. But at the beginning, you're in the trenches. You're literally in the trenches and you've got to kind of climb your way out. It's a super hard job and it's not for everybody. It's really not. But if you have that grit and determination, you're halfway there. And
honestly, we have to finish because it's just 45 minutes and everyone is just absolutely bored of us just talking to each other. I'm going to say just one thing. I shared it today with a fantastic lady in my team. She was talking about my experience. She was asking my experience 11 years ago when I just came and I was not making money as a broker in the beginning, of course. I was looking for my $10,000 savings. And then she asked me, okay, and for how long that was? When you finally became comfortable? And I'm just like, well, you're asking me wrong questions because I'm never comfortable.
I was going to say,
if you're seeking for comfort, Dubai is not for you. Because as soon as you get comfortable, you're going to stop putting tremendous amount of work. You're going to be out.
Correct.
I was like, I'm not comfortable. No, it's not about the money. It's not like we've been talking. Money is not what motivates us anymore. Or that motivates us. But I feel like this comfort in terms of relaxation is specifically in the sales and such competitive industry as real estate in Dubai is where you have to avoid the cost. As soon as you're comfortable.
I feel like I think it's a work ethic because from Europe, UK, the work ethic's completely different. I think people have a shock when they come here because we hustle hard. You know, Dubai is a place where you work hard, you hustle hard because, you know, Dubai can be the best place on earth if you've got money and you can live comfortably, but it can be the worst place on earth if you have no money. So, you know, if you want to stay here and be stable and be successful, you've got to get to work. So I feel like a lot of people do come, especially from the UK, and they don't necessarily kind of conform to the Dubai work ethic. And they end up leaving because it's just too tough for them.
Yeah. So Mohammed never felt comfortable. That's how it should be.
That's good. Keeps you on your toes.
So how long did it take you to being able to pay for your own bills, housing, where you have? I mean, I don't know, Ashley, I will ask you, have anyone ever paid for your bills or housing?
No. That's come from my.
I never had that experience as well up to this point. What's wrong with me?
I wish, but I just think it. You know, it comes down to the individual. I think it's again, this is why I normally do say start in leasing, because with that you can kind of get transactions done a lot quicker, earn commission quicker, and get money coming back into the house a lot more quickly. So, you know, it kind of eases the stress, especially if you are coming on limited funds, then go down that route where you can build up a bit of money in the pot before you make the move to sales. But with leasing, you should be, you know, making money in the first 6 weeks. I've said this before, 6 to 8 weeks, you should be having commissions coming in. So you should be able to pay for your bills and rent a car and all that stuff.
About my experience, when I start to make money, to being able and comfortable to move out of sharing accommodation where I was literally living for a little bit more than 1.5 years for sure. Was it 1.5 years? I mean, I'm looking at the winter, summer, all of this. That was probably 1.5 years. So I did move to a very, very small studio with the monthly payments in Motor City before I had even a car. because I unfortunately couldn't convert my license back then. I need to, regardless of my driving experience, take a course. It
Take a
cost me
course.
4,000 dirhams, but it's not about the cost. It's just about the time that it was from April till August, literally. And with the first money that I made, I saved a bit, and then I invested in my MBA. I started with University of Wollongong, and I paid for a personal trainer. Back then, it was quite cheap for, I think, I was paying her 3,000 for maybe 15 sessions, private
Nice.
sessions.
That's good.
So but that's 2016 as well. Don't forget about that.
Yes. Do you remember I had a house share? Do you remember the story I told you about when I lived in a house share with my friend and these two ladies of the night? Do you remember I told you? And I woke up one morning and one of them had been eating the contents of the fridge.
But when you moved out of sharing with someone?
Yeah. When did I move out? God, I haven't shared a home with somebody since 2015.
So was it like less than a year that you moved in yourself?
It was, yeah. So pretty much I moved to Dubai 2014. By 2015, a year and a half, I moved into my first little one bed in Sports City. And then kind of went from there really. But I remember it was like paying like 55,000 a year, I think it was, and I actually got 12 checks at the time, so it was actually a really, really good deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great little property. That it's actually really, really nice. But yeah, how times have changed.
Okay, last question. And Mohammed is dealing with ultra luxury properties to deal with kind of clients, right? This kind of deal takes 1 year sometimes to be closed. Yeah, well, potentially.
Again, I think
it all depends where you got the leads from.
Correct. It depends, if it's a referral, then again, there's going to be that connection there. And if it's a referral, then they're most likely going to do business with you. You're going to have a different type of relationship with them if it's, a referral as opposed to a fresh lead that's come through. But with these clients, it all comes down to your knowledge and, what value you can offer these people, because they haven't got time to mess around. If they give you a spec that they're looking for, yes, you've got to advise them and tell them, yes, it's good, yes, whatever, but they expect you to be able to work to their schedule and to their spec. So, if you're taking them out to see properties that they didn't want, or it's not high enough quality, or it's in the right location, or you've got the pricing wrong, you've messed it up. So, with these clients, you've got a very small window to impress them. If you impress them and you get a deal done, then that can open you up to another level. It unlocks another level in your career. But just know they're going to be very demanding of you, and they're going to have very specifics that they're going to be looking from you.
Okay, last question about the inventory. I think that probably asked by someone who has maybe European, maybe UK experience in real estate, or maybe heard. Unfortunately, in Dubai, no one gives you any inventory.
No.
For secondary market. You have to go and find it yourself. Because why? I mean, the inventory always belongs to the brokers. Everything which advertise on any platform is already under the broker. And we do not have, rather than do Bizzle, but I'm not sure if people are still putting the property themselves.
But you've got to remember that to Bizzle is going to be, it's low hanging fruit again. So yes, you can go there to get quick listings and get yourself moving quickly and go out and look at the properties, but it's never going to be quality because everyone's going to have it. So I would always focus on the phone calls or going through the CRM system from your company, because the company will have an existing CRM with all the data on there from previous brokers that have maybe left the company, or data that's on the system that's been forgotten about. I would always go there as well and spend a good hour every day calling through the existing data, because that's warm. They're going to know the company. We might have had the listing on before. There might be pictures on there as well, which you can see what type of property it is. So definitely do that. But it is not like the UK. The UK, you've got the high street. You sit there, you wait for landlords and sellers to come into your office, and then, or they call you up and they want a valuation. It's very reactive in the UK. I'm using this as an example. Here, you've got to be proactive. You've got to go out there and farm. And again, that's what a lot of brokers have issues with. It's the farming side of the job, which is the most important part. In time, you're going to become either a lister or a listing agent or a viewing agent. In time, you're going to figure out which one you are, and you can play to your strengths. If you're a listing agent, then you're going to be great at getting the listings and having those good conversations and getting exclusive listings. But that's not for everybody. Some brokers do better with going out and meeting clients. So, you know, you're going to find which one you are within a short space of time. And then you just got to make sure you have an alliance with you and your company that you can then buddy up with.
So I think it's almost 1 hour. We've been enjoying ourselves online. What do you think? Oh, actually, we're going to ask you, which topic do you think we should be discussing next Monday?
It would
because
be good
we
to
do have a lot of things that we can talk about.
Right.
I'm just going to take a nice, cool video of us.
Take a video.
No, it's no video actually.
I think definitely it would be good to have some feedback from you guys in terms of what you would like us to touch base on. I think that we should spend, you know, the first part of the episode talking about whatever topic people would like us to go through, and then we can spend the second half answering questions and, you know, making sure we cater to everybody. And I think it's definitely an open forum, and this is for you guys. So we want you guys to kind of have a say so we can make sure we're delivering you value content each single week, and you're coming away with hopefully a little golden nugget that you can use for your businesses going forward.
Yes, and as soon as this is going to be uploaded, we're going to leave in the description actually episode about how to get the listings and all the tools that you should use as a broker, and a short training on cold calling from me.
That'd be great. I think that's really good for them. Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, should we say bye?
Yes. See you again next week.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Now.